Welcome to the Daily AI News, brought to you by the Day After AI News channel.
It is fantastic to be back, and looking at our slate for today, February 5th, 2026, wow, we have a massive amount of ground to cover.
We really do. I hope you've had your coffee, because I have to say, looking at the markets this morning, I am in a bit of shock. I mean, normally you see that much red, you think, okay, recession, interest rates, something like that.
Right, the usual suspects.
But today, everyone is just screaming about the SaaS apocalypse. Software stocks are absolutely melting down, and the culprit isn't the economy, it's this new phrase I hadn't even heard of until today. Vibe coding.
It really is the story of the day, and it's trending for a very, very good reason. We are seeing a fundamental shift in how software is, well, how it's built, how it's sold, and how it's valued.
And as big as that is, I'm guessing it's just the start of our deep dive today.
Oh, it's just the tip of the iceberg.
It always is.
Yeah.
So lay it out for us. If the software market's in chaos, what else is on the roadmap for today?
Okay, so first, we have to unpack that software meltdown. We need to explain exactly why this Anthropic update and the rise of autonomous agents is causing such panic.
Got it.
Then we pivot to hardware. Because it is a war zone out there, Intel is officially getting in the ring to fight NVIDIA.
Finally.
And there's a new unicorn, a startup called Positron, that just raised a staggering amount of money to change how we run these models.
And it's not just code and chips, right?
Yeah.
I saw some notes about AI getting physical.
That's right. We've got news on autonomous drone dogfights. I'm talking 5-on-5 aerial combat with 0 pilots.
Wow.
And Amazon is literally changing how TV shows get filmed. And then, we'll wrap up on the consumer side. Tinder and Roblox are using AI to completely change how we date and play.
Okay, let's start with the panic. The SaaS apocalypse. I was reading the CNBC reports, and the numbers are just ugly. Thomson Reuters dropped 20%.
Where?
In one day.
That's the headline grabber. And you really have to look at why. Thomson Reuters is a behemoth. A huge part of their business model is, providing specialized tools for legal research and contract review.
Right, and that's always been their defensive mode, that legal work is hard and expensive.
Exactly. But then Anthropic released Claude Code.
Okay.
And this is the critical part. They didn't just release the model. They dropped a set of 11 starter plugins on GitHub. And one of those plugins...
Let me guess. It does legal review.
You got it. It specifically handles clause-by-clause contract reviews. It can triage NDAs, tell you if it's standard boilerplate or if there are red flags to worry about.
So you're telling me a free plugin on GitHub can do the core job of a billion-dollar legacy software tool?
Essentially, yes. For a tiny fraction of the cost anyway. So if you're an investor, you're suddenly asking, why am I paying for the Thomson Reuters wrapper if the AI can just do the work directly?
That is a terrifying question for every software CEO right now. But the part that really blew my mind was the vibe coding anecdote, the one about Deirdre Bosa from CNBC. She's a journalist, not a coder.
Not at all. And that is the entire point. She used Claude Code, and she built a fully functioning clone of Monday.com.
Okay, let's put that in context.
Yeah.
Monday.com is a $5 billion company. They have, hundreds of engineers?
And she built a working version of their core product in 30 minutes. She didn't write one line of code.
So what did she do?
She just prompted it. She told the AI what she wanted the app to feel like, the vibe of it, how she wanted it to work. It even hooked itself into her Gmail and calendar automatically.
So that is vibe coding. You just described the vibe and the code. It just appears.
That's the slang for it, yeah. The implication is massive. If you can just vibe your way to a custom tool that does exactly what you need, why pay $50 a month for a subscription that makes you work their way?
It's the death of the middleman software. But there's another layer here in your notes, the shift to agentic AI. This feels like it goes beyond just making the software.
It does. This is where we stop thinking of software as a tool and start thinking of it as a worker. Look at a company called Yellow.ai. They just launched something called Nexus.
They're calling it a universal agentic interface.
Right. And they have this fantastic tagline, service as a software.
I love that. It's an inversion of the whole SaaS model.
Exactly. For 20 years, software as a service meant you rent the tool. You click the buttons, you navigate the menus, you, the human, do the work inside the software.
And service as a software means the software does the work for you.
You don't click buttons anymore. You just define an outcome. You say, handle this customer's refund, or summarize my meetings and update the CRM. The agent executes it. It's the end of the co-pilot and the beginning of the the autonomous worker.
But here's where it gets a little chaotic. If everyone is vibe coding their own apps and unleashing these agents, who keeps the lights on? Who fixes this stuff when it inevitably breaks?
That is the trillion-dollar question. Because if a journalist can build an app in 30 minutes, she can probably build a security flaw in 30 seconds.
Right, which brings us to this startup, Resolve AI. They just confirmed a $125 million Series A.
At a billion-dollar valuation, I mean, that's a unicorn straight out of the gate at Series A.
Insane. So what is it they do?
They're building AI SREs, site reliability engineers. Their bet is that if you have AI writing code at this insane speed, human engineers just can't keep up with debugging it.
You can't type fast enough to fix the problems the AI is creating.
You literally can't. So you need an AI to clean up the mess that the other AI made.
So we have AI writing the code, AI breaking the code, and now AI fixing the code.
It's a closed loop. And the humans are just, supervising, hopefully.
Well, while the software world is eating itself, the hardware market is on fire. All this stuff requires a staggering amount of compute, which brings us to the hardware wars. It's felt like the NVIDIA show for years, but that seems to be changing.
The monopoly is definitely under siege. We have some serious contenders now. First up, you've got Intel. The CEO, Lip Bhutan, he announced at the Cisco AI Summit that they are officially making GPUs to compete directly with NVIDIA.
Intel's been struggling. Is this for real, or is it too little too late?
You can never count them out. They have the manufacturing, they have the fabs, but they are playing catch-up. The more interesting story, I think, is this new startup, Positron.
Right, I saw that.
Right.
Raised $230 million in a Series B. Who are they?
They're a chip startup, and here's the key detail. They're backed by the Qatar Investment Authority.
Okay, so sovereign wealth money. They have very deep pockets.
Extremely deep. And their strategy is clever. They're not trying to win the training war. That's NVIDIA's turf. They're focused on inference.
So running the models after they're built.
Exactly. All those agents we just talked about. Every single task one of them does, that's inference. And Positron's chip, it's called Atlas, they claim it can match the performance of NVIDIA's H100.
But
For a third of the power consumption.
a third. If that's true, that is an absolute game changer. Power is the biggest bottleneck for data centers right now.
It is. If you can cut your electricity bill by 66%, you win. That's why the money is pouring in.
And speaking of scale, we have to talk about Google. Their earnings call was pretty revealing.
The numbers are just staggering. I mean, Alphabet's revenue topped $400 billion, but the user numbers for Gemini are what really jumped out at me.
750 million monthly active users.
And that's up 100 million from last quarter. It just shows you, for all the talk about startups, the big incumbents have incredible distribution. They also launched Gemini 3, which is driving a lot of that.
But there was one thing on that call they would not talk about.
The elephant in the room? The Apple deal?
Yeah. Investors asked them straight up about the partnership where Google powers Apple's Siri. It's a massive deal.
And then executives just shut it down. They refused to answer, wouldn't discuss the details, the economics, nothing.
That silence is loud, isn't it? It suggests there's some tension there. Or maybe the deal is so strategic they can't afford to show their cards.
It's got to be complicated. Apple is a partner, but they're also a massive rival. It's a classic frenemy situation. They need each other for now, but you have to assume both are looking for an exit strategy.
Okay, let's shift gears from Silicon Valley to the battlefield. We hear so much about AI taking jobs, but there was this really provocative interview on Fox Business with Palantir's CTO, Sean Sankar.
This was a very, very direct counter-narrative. He basically said the American people are being lied to about AI.
That's a strong phrase. What's the lie?
Well, the lie, according to him, is this idea that it's a binary choice. Either AI creates a utopia where nobody works, or it causes mass unemployment. He says the reality is that AI is a slingshot for reindustrialization.
He's talking about making the American worker 50 times more productive, right?
Exactly. His whole argument is this isn't about replacing people. It's about arming them to compete, specifically with China. He sees AI as a defense and industrial asset, first and foremost.
And we are seeing that defense asset idea play out in the real world.
Yeah.
I was reading about Fordham Technologies.
Yeah.
This sounds like it's straight out of a movie.
It really does. They just completed a 5 versus 5 autonomous drone intercept.
So 5 attacker drones against 5 defender drones.
Correct. Their system, it's called Skydome, commanded these drone hunters to capture 5 attacking drones all at the same time. And the key word here is autonomous.
No human pilot in the loop.
0 human involvement in the decision-making during the intercept. That's the future of warfare. It's machine on machine, happening faster than a human can even react.
Which connects to this other partnership, right? ST Engineering and Shield AI.
They're partnering on something called Hive Mind software. This lets drones operate in swarms without GPS.
So even if the signal gets jammed, the AI pilot keeps flying.
Exactly. It doesn't need a pilot back at base giving it orders. It has the mission, it has its sensors, and it just executes.
That's incredible technology, but also, frankly, a little terrifying. Okay, let's try to lighten the mood. Maybe. Hollywood. Let's talk about entertainment.
Well, Amazon MGM Studios is launching a closed beta for AI tools in film and TV production, and that's happening this March.
And this isn't just a test in a lab somewhere. They used it on a real show, right? House of David Season 2.
That's the one. They revealed that the new season features 350 AI-generated shots.
350, that's not a small experiment. That's a huge part of the production.
It is, and it tells you we are moving past that uncanny valley phase where AI video looked all weird and swirly. We're in the utility phase now. You need a shot of a burning city, a massive crowd. You don't send a crew. You generate it.
And on that note, ElevenLabs just raised another massive round.
$500 million. They're valued at $11 billion now. And they're not just doing voice anymore. They're moving into sound effects and even video agents. The whole creative toolkit is becoming synthetic.
It really is democratizing creation.
Yeah.
Which, brings us to consumers. My kids are probably going to be native users of this stuff.
Yeah.
Roblox launched something called 4D creation. I get 3D. What on earth is 4D?
So think of 3D creation as making a digital statue. It just sits there. 4D adds behavior. Yeah. So in Roblox now, you don't just prompt make a car, you prompt make a fast red car. And the AI understands that means the wheels need to spin, the steering should work, and it needs to be able to drive. You're generating interactive objects.
That's huge for game design.
Yeah.
Every player basically becomes a developer.
And then there's this new app called Gizmo. Have you seen this?
It's being called TikTok for mini apps. It sounds fascinating.
It is. Imagine scrolling a feed, but instead of videos, every item is a little interactive toy or a tiny app that someone made with a prompt.
So it's vibe coding for teenagers.
That's the perfect way to put it. You just type, make a game where I catch falling pizza, and boom, it exists. And your friends can play it.
That sounds incredibly addictive.
Yeah.
You know what else is addictive? Or used to be? Dating apps. Seems like everyone has swipe fatigue now.
Which is why Tinder is rolling out a new AI feature. It's called Chemistry.
Okay, I have to ask about this. It accesses your camera roll.
With your permission, yeah. The whole idea is to get away from that superficial swipe based on one photo. The AI looks at your photos to understand your life, your hobbies, your interests, and then it asks you questions to find better matches.
So it's like a matchmaker that snoops through your photo album first.
A helpful matchmaker, ideally. It's trying to solve that burnout problem. People are tired of the game. They want a real connection. Tinder is betting AI can find that better than a thumb can.
It's a brave new world.
Yeah.
But we have to talk about the risks. We've mentioned all these autonomous agents today. Gartner just released their cybersecurity trends for 2026, and they are sounding the alarm.
They are. Their number one trend is that agentic AI demands serious oversight.
Because you have these unmanaged agents just running loose on company networks.
Exactly. An employee uses an AI agent to optimize their workflow, and suddenly that agent is accessing sensitive data, maybe moving files, granting permissions, and the security team has no idea. It's shadow IT on steroids.
It's not just someone installing Dropbox anymore. It's someone installing an autonomous worker.
Precisely. And then there's the other big one, the post-quantum threat.
Right. This sounds like science fiction, but why should a business leader care about quantum computers today?
Well, they're not breaking into banks yet, but hackers are using a strategy called harvest now, decrypt later.
Okay.
They are stealing huge amounts of encrypted data today, financial records, state secrets, stuff they can't read yet. But they're storing it, basically just waiting for quantum computers to become powerful enough to break that encryption, probably by 2030.
So they're hoarding locked safes, waiting for the master key to be invented.
That is the perfect analogy. So Gartner is saying you need to upgrade your encryption now before the key exists.
That is a very sobering thought. And speaking of data, there's this ongoing crawler war between websites and AI bots.
Tencent Cloud just launched a free tool for this called AI Crawler Control.
I love their analogy for it. They called it whack-a-mole.
It's exactly what it is. You block one AI bot and 3 more with different names pop up. The AI companies are so hungry for training data. This tool is meant to help developers actually protect their content.
It really feels like an arms race on every single front. Software, hardware, data, defense.
It is. If you step back and look at the whole picture, you see these patterns. You see the democratization of creation with vibe coding and Roblox. You see the industrialization of AI with chips and drones. And you see all the friction that comes with it.
A lot to process. The ground is shifting under our feet every single day.
It is. But I want to leave you and our listeners with one final thought. It's something from the AI Expo news that I think frames all of this perfectly.
Let's hear it.
It's this idea of the illusion of AI readiness. Companies are buying the tools, they're deploying the agents, but their culture isn't ready. And if we go back to that Monday.com example.
The journalist who built a clone in 30 minutes.
Right. If one non-coder can build a competitor to $1 billion company in half an hour, what does job security actually mean in 2026?
That is the question, isn't it? If the skill of coding isn't the barrier to entry anymore, then what is?
It's no longer about knowing how to do the work. The AI knows how. The real value, the only defensible skill, is knowing what work is worth doing in the first place. The architects are going to win. The bricklayers, even the digital ones, are in trouble.
Wow. Knowing what to build, not just how to build it. That's something I'm going to be thinking about all day.
Me too. It
Wow.
redefines everything.
Well, that is all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
Before you go, please subscribe to the podcast Prime. And if you enjoyed today's episode, hit like to support us. Thanks for listening and see you next time.